advice, if I could just stop for a moment when I feel myself ready to sort of snap right back to them. I stop and I take a couple of breaths into my heart and then respond. And then it comes kind of from a different place, a more relaxed place. That would be perhaps the first way to take the edge off or the hardness off of reaction. That takes a lot of effort, but it starts to go against egoic patterning. That's how you break through ego, is you do things the opposite of what. So if you really, really want to snap at a person, you don't. Or if you really, really want to interrupt a person to argue, or even not, even just to interrupt itself, you stop and you don't interrupt and you keep listening to them. That's very difficult for some people because some people want to get in their word right away, no matter what. They want to give their opinion. And maybe sometimes it's helpful, but if a person has a general habit of interrupting, then it's good to stop and let a person speak their mind fully and then respond. Or you can even say, is that all that you wanted to say about this? You know, and maybe they have another 5-10 minutes to talk to you before you can respond. And it's good because then you can actually sort of practice listening and find out where that person is, what they're actually feeling. Because a lot of times, if I'm interrupting, I haven't gotten really the full picture of the whole story of where they're at. Or it could be even different. If, let's say, instead if they're upset, they're trying to tell you something important about their life. And it's a 10-minute story. But your listening to them would be their greatest gift, because how many people really genuinely want to listen to your life story? If someone was going to tell you their life story, are you willing to sit for 10 minutes and then say, listen, and then, oh, tell me more. Oh, and tell me about that. I'm telling you, people in general love to tell their life story. One of the greatest gifts you can give is to ask a person, will you tell me more about your life? Tell me about your challenges. What have you gone through in life that has made you like this today, that's made you the person you are today? It's a great question. And then you listen carefully, not just listen and then turn around and make your toast. You know, oh, let's sit down. I want to hear your story. And then the person tells their story, and then likely the person who just told you their story will remember this conversation for the rest of their life. Why? Because no one else has heard their whole story. No one actually sat down and said, oh, I want to hear about you and I want to hear about your life. Because everyone wants to tell about their story. Oh, but let me tell you my story. I've got a good story for you. I went through this and this and this, and wasn't that great? Oftentimes. So, and even then, after they've told you their story, you don't say anything about your story. You don't say, oh, yeah, I'm going through this and this and this and this. You say, you know what? Thank you for sharing about your life. I really wanted to get to know you more. And now I'm feeling like I really understand where you're coming from. And I'm so glad to get to know you. And then here's the amazing thing. When you hear out their story and you know their character more, then when you hear their reactions, you see their reactions to someone, they do this or this and this, and maybe normally it would bother you, you've already heard their story. You've already heard that they have these kinds of reactivities or this kind of trouble with this kind of interaction or this kind of issue. And then instead of then being kind of judgmental towards the person because they did this and this, oh, well, actually, I've already heard their story and I understand why they're reacting. I get it because I know where they're coming from. What a great gift. You know where the person's coming from. So you're not surprised or angry or judgmental to the person when they react a certain way. You get it. Because there's always a reason why a person gets upset or angry. It's because of how they were treated as a kid, how their boss treated them, how their girlfriend, how their wife, their husband, their children, how they treated them. There's a whole life story behind the reactions that you're getting right now from them. And if you got that life story, it would all make sense. Then it would be way easier to have compassion, understanding, and acceptance of a person.